Hello, everybody, and welcome to Wowhead Weekly number 181. We are live here during the Christmas holidays, or the holidays, and it's probably going to be our last show for the year. It is the December 27th, which is pretty late in the year, and that almost also marks my 1 year anniversary of being your host for Wowhead Weekly, which is pretty crazy. I can't believe time has actually passed so fast. Let me introduce myself in case there's anyone out there who doesn't know who I am. My name's Annie, also known as Annie Fuchsia. I stream on Twitch full-time, mostly playing World of Warcraft, sometimes other games as well. My co-host for tonight and always is the lovely Perculia.
Hey everyone, happy holidays. I'm at my parents', so I don't have a very fancy video setup, so a picture of me, but I am on my nice phone, so I probably sound better than usual on my old microphones. We've got a trade-off here. To introduce myself, I am the site director for Wowhead, so I oversee pretty much everything that happens on the site, from what features we do to what news we do, and all sorts of little site tweaks and improvements. And it's always really fun to do this show because the people behind the camera sort of get to be in front of the camera, well, kind of in this week, and talk about all the stuff directly to the people that like using the site.
Yay.
So, yeah. And yeah, we have a giveaway going on. SAS is setting it up. And to enter, we are giving away a Whomper, and you enter by typing in the keyword Yeti, YETI, in Twitch chat.
I like how you were about to spell Whomper.
Yes.
It's okay. No one noticed. Only I did. I just noticed that your windows in this picture are dark, so we can pretend that you're in Sweden and it's nighttime for you.
Oh, I like that.
Right? So yeah, guys, Perk is in Sweden for the moment, and she looks still, but she's not. If you look carefully, you'll catch her winking.
Yes.
Before everyone's staring, like waiting for it to happen.
Brightpaw is surprisingly still.
Yeah, Brightpaw looks like he's part of a pillowcase, but he's not. It's just
most well-behaved cat.
Oh yeah, it's just a filter on the camera that makes it look like that. Oh, and we got Pepe too at the top of the Christmas tree, which is awesome.
Yes.
No, I like the picture. It's very pretty. And yeah, so we tried to do a show last week around this time, and we were struggling. We were trying to make a video call, and the internet at Perk's parents was not ideal for that. So it was very laggy and very hard to hear Perk as well. It wasn't just a video. So we thought, okay, we're tight on time and there is not much going on, so what we'll do instead is do a better Christmas themed stream next week instead, where we set up a picture and have our voices done. So here we are. And,
yeah, I'm really enjoying this. I got a jigsaw puzzle for Christmas, so I'm just sitting on the floor next to the jigsaw puzzle and staring at it and putting some pieces as we're doing this. So yeah, I'm like, man, this is great.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so I'm on my phone instead of the mic. So yeah, this show, we sort of made the best of, in transit situation. And I live across the country from my parents, so I do like visiting them, and I don't want to, curtail a trip or not do a trip because of, I don't want the internet to scare me away from not seeing them for the holidays. So,
yeah, of course. So if we notice that Perk is distracted, then she's probably just found a solution to part of her jigsaw puzzle. Now we know the truth.
Exactly.
Yep. Her sound quality, by the way, I know that it lags slightly sometimes, but it's not so bad. It's usually just like a kind of like a slowdown, if that makes sense. I don't know how to describe it. It's like she might say, let's say she says the word hello and it goes like, hello, and then it goes back to regular. So we should still be able to hear her, but the quality itself is amazing. I love it. So I'm very happy with this. We tried this before with the laptop microphone and it was nowhere as
so
clear
much
and
worse.
nice as this. Yeah. It's barely been lags. It's just like slight slows sometimes, but barely even noticeable. I think it sounds great. And I'm glad that we're able to do it with your phone so that it's stable and nice, so we can do this show and still hear your comments, because we need you here, Perk. We can't do this without you.
Aw.
We need you here. So I'm glad we managed to make that work.
Yeah.
As Perk mentioned before, actually, it might have been before the show officially started, so maybe not as Perk mentioned before. There hasn't been that much new going on, but we do have 2 weeks of news to cover, and we can start off with the holiday stuff, is what I was thinking, since we are, in the holiday spirit still, at least some of us. As you can see on the screen, I think that would be the most fitting topic to start with. So you guys may know that Winterveil is up and going event in World of Warcraft, and it's active all the way to, I believe, January 2nd.
Yeah, the morning of the 2nd. So if you put stuff off until later that day, it's going to be over. But what's very special about Winterveil is that there are presents that appeared under the tree on the 25th, and you can loot them until the morning of January 2nd, and they are the toy armor set with different variations for Alliance and Horde, as well as Great Father Winter's Hearthstone, which is a wintry, very festive song. Blizzard has been Hearth for a few times now, and this one looks pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. I have some images of the toy armor set, so you can see the lions on the left side, and you can see the Horde one on the right side. Yeah, there you go. The image slideshow is working.
And the toy armor set, looting it rewards at least you're being careful, and opening any present will also give you, he knows if you've been naughty. And I believe that similar to last year, you need to loot the equivalent faction one on both sides in order to have both toys. Last year was the toy weapon set, and now we get the matching armor set.
Mm-hmm. And then we also have the Hearthstone. Great Father Winter's Hearthstone that Perk mentioned, and here this is how it looks like if you are a male panda. So I mentioned male panda because the windy sort of snowy effect is for everybody, but the dance of your character will be according to whatever dance that your race and gender has. So if you're a human, or if you're a female human, it would be the Macarena dance, etc. So whatever dance fits your race and gender, that's the one that you will get. That's the animation that you will get. And it's a Hearthstone. So you can, delete your Hearthstone from your bag, an extra bag slot, and use this because it's a toy that doesn't need to be in your bag. And you just drag it onto your action bar, and you can use that for your Hearthstone instead.
Yeah, and if you're like, oh, I get the toys from past years, some are in the Stolen Present, which is a daily quest. But there seems to be an issue with the Hearth Station from last year where people thought it would be included in the Stolen Present, and it's not. But weapon set from last year is. So maybe Blizzard will have all the toys fixed for next year. I know a lot of people think the Hearthstone is cool. Hearth Station is cool, so I just want to bring it to, I don't know, someone from Blizzard is listening or reading the news post that the Hearth Station appears to have gone missing and people miss it. But yeah, I think that's about it for the Winterveil stuff that's new. Winterveil's, item level changed. But yeah, otherwise.
Okay, so your voice was super slowed down and suddenly was super fast.
Oh, weird. You were quiet, so I was like, I'll just keep talking.
Because it's slowed down, so I'm waiting for to be able to hear it all, Right. But yeah, Perk was, I think you guys should have been able to understand it. I was able to, but I'll repeat just in case not. You were talking about the Hearth Station, right, from last year?
Yes.
And where it has not so far been found in the Stolen Presents, correct?
Correct.
But it might be in the future, hopefully, because there seems to be a little bit of a trend where old items do end up being in the Stolen Presents, and it's very likely that this one will end up there as well. We just don't know yet if that will be added or not. Speaking of Stolen Presents, something that I'm farming is the Flames of Ragnaros, the illusion.
Oh, yeah.
That one is a really, really rare drop from those presents, and I did not during the original event for it, so I'm there, farming with my 40 characters the last 2 days, and no luck so far, but, maybe next time. 80 attempts so far.
Wow. Yeah, just to recap, if you're wondering what's there besides the old toys and the stolen present, the Flames of Ragnaros, there's also another kind of Winter Veil themed enchant that's there. There is a dagger that looks like a Christmas tree. There's a trinket that creates a gigantic present above your head. There are lots of battle pets you can collect. So there's lots of different things. And in past years, there's not just one gift that can be added. There's been two. So, in 2016, there were like socks and there was a red winter sled. So there's lots of fun things you can get from the stolen present.
And your voice sounded perfect now. So awesome.
Yay.
Yeah. Moving on from Winter Veil presents, we have some information which might be fun for hunters to know. So, hunters were previously not able to tame any kind of krogs, but now there is an item available which drops from both normal and heroic and mythic.
Yeah, and mythic, yeah.
Zul.
And, yeah.
So you kill Zul on your hunter, and then you get a special item which allows you to tame, I believe they're called blood beasts?
Yeah, there are all the gross looking things in Nazmir.
Yeah, so it's the krogs and the ticks. I actually have a picture of that. And yes, there was a bit of a controversy with this before because there was some leaked information before which ended up not being completely true. It was only dropping for hunters who would Hearthstone out of the Zul fight. And, imagine being a hunter, signing up for a raid group, and people are like, oh no, that's a hunter, he's probably going to Hearthstone out, we're not going to invite him, right? So because of this, people were very concerned about being a hunter, not being invited, and if invited, pissing off everybody for Hearthstoning out. So it was clarified that it was not intended. Apparently my headset is charging. Thank you for letting me know. And now we have some new confirmed information that it's a regular drop from normal, heroic, and mythic Zul for hunters. They're saying that it might also be a drop from LFR, but we're not sure.
Yeah, I'm not sure people actually attempted it on LFR, but I know a lot of hunters were like, oh, so it's not just heroic, it's normal. And yeah, the confusion was Blizzard said it was meant to. They planned it to be a secret, the solution would be you need to kill Zul with only hunters, and you would all get the item. But that wasn't coded properly.
Sorry.
So
I'm just gonna remove my cable because my robot keeps speaking to me. It's charged enough, so we don't need to hear her voice. I'm sorry, Perk. What was the last thing you said?
So the controversy came from the fact that Blizzard had intended the item to drop all hunters killed Zul, so an all hunter raid. But A, people didn't really know how to trigger that, and B, you got it when you Hearthstoned out, so it wasn't really. It's like something got messed in the code. Maybe it thought that if you Hearthed out, you were by yourself and like you were the only hunter in the group. I don't know. It didn't make sense.
Oh,
but...
yeah. That makes sense if that's the case.
Yeah.
So it was in the game for dropping if you were all hunters only.
Right, but no
one attempted that. Okay. Cool.
Yeah. So
good to know.
So it's not as fun this way, but it's better for the health of the game than keeping the bug in where you needed to hearth out, because that's just hunters already have a bad rep for kind of being like the lazy class that wants every weapon is the hunter weapon,
pulling everything with their pets, taunting everything with their pets.
Yeah, I know a lot of the hunter hashtagging this as Krogmas and having this really cute picture of the Krog with a wreath around its head. I think the pets are creepy, but I'm glad hunters have a new
Here, I've got some pictures.
Creepy friend.
Here's the blood tick. So you can have that as a pet now, and the Krog. And these both models actually exist as mounts in the game.
Yeah, you can have a little family of them, which I always think is fun.
Yeah, you can mount it and have it as a pet. And the battle pet. Yeah, you're right. That's actually true.
And you can even get the spidery looking one. I think that's from Talanji's Expedition Exalted. So Yeah, lots of little
Mmm.
creepy crawly families.
Lots and lots. I actually almost just sneezed, but it went away, so we're okay.
Cool.
We're okay for now. No sneezing. Next topic is something that concerns or not concerns, but touches the horde population. There's some new updated quest lines for Fate of Saurfang. Perk, maybe you can go over this.
Sure. So a lot of people knew that Saurfang was getting a quest line, and everyone was puzzled when it wasn't there when Tides of Vengeance came around, December 11th or 12th if you're EU. And it just popped up the week after. So, if you maybe weren't playing as much right before the holidays, you may have missed this. But the Fate of Saurfang is available starting from December 18th or 19th.
Mm-hmm.
And it's basically what has happened to Saurfang since we saw that cinematic at BlizzCon where he has a discussion with Anduin, and Anduin leaves with the door to his cell open. And we go through this quest line from the perspective of a horde player that, did not know the cinematic took place. And we get all these hints that Saurfang escaped, but maybe the Alliance were helping him in some way. There are all these little clues. And when you go to, Red Ridge and you talk to the inn, and it seems that SI7 was involved. And the part which is really notable about the quest line is when you get to a point near the end, you have to make a choice if you want to listen to Zikon, aka Zappy Boy, who is saying that, Sylvanas has something evil planned for Saurfang, don't help her, or if you decide that you're going to side with Sylvanas and go back and let her know about, Saurfang's whereabouts. And it may not seem like a big fancy quest on the surface, but it's pretty important narratively because we haven't really had a lot of these choices before in game. And Blizzard has been hyping it up and saying it could lead to even more decisions. So I wonder if maybe the action you take now will lead to something pretty major, maybe in 6 months or so, or there'd be even more choices you could make, like a sort of, I don't know, pick your own adventure style story.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's really cool. I'm super happy that they've done it, and like you said, this might open more doors to do this more for other kind of events and questions or whatnot in the future. Being able to choose your fate that could potentially in the future affect how things go on around you is awesome.
Yeah, and I think it would have helped a lot. I'm thinking of examples such as the pre-patch, Teldrassil, was your character complicit in burning it? Or maybe if you were, a race or you RP a character that is against the burning, like maybe you're a Nightborn and you're like, oh, like the Night Elves sort of help me reclaim Suramar. I'm a Tauren,
Lag.
close to nature. If there was a choice, test.
Okay, you're better now.
Yeah,
you were saying if you were Nightborn, maybe you would, remember what the Alliance did for you in Suramar. If you were High Mountain?
a Tauren.
Yes.
Yeah, like just a Tauren in general. Like if you're a Druid or a Tauren, you may not want to, do anything with that. So
exactly.
I think it's a good thing that Blizzard is doing, and I hope to see more of it with even more sophistication. So it's not just a yes/no option, but actual separate quest line. And maybe this is me being optimistic, but I think it would be cool if we had all these different class quests in Legion, and we don't have all these class specific quests now. Maybe we have like sort of character alignment specific quests in BFA, where instead of having a quest line per 12 classes, you end up with like 12 different parallel stories. Yeah, based on who you side with.
Not of classes, of path, of quest lines. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be really cool if they'd be working on something like that. Then depending on what you decide to do. It's like Telltale games, but in World of Warcraft. That would be really cool.
So I think, and then you could actually have a reason to play alts and see the different quest lines unfold. So, but yeah, we obviously there's been no PTR for a while, so we don't really know what they have planned in the upcoming patch. But I'll be optimistic. I think it would be good for the game, and it would add more depth than just being like, oh, I'm following one person around. Be exciting. The end.
When do you think the next PTR would be?
So I was dead certain, and I was wrong, that the PTR was going to be on December 20th because they did that with 735. They dumped the allied races that could be data mined, and then people were all hype, planning the appearance in the dressing room over the holidays. And I distinctly remember I was on a trip on some, I don't know, it was some like Caribbean island, and the Throne of Thunder patch had it dropped like the day before Christmas at 9 p.m. and I'm on this island, under a palm tree with no real internet. Yeah. And then you couldn't actually play the PTR, but they wanted people to be, really hype, thinking about Throne of Thunder and all these troll armor models. So I thought they were going to do something like that just to get people talking over the holidays.
Yeah.
But, they didn't do something like that. So my guess would be probably assume, I don't know if they, now I don't know, because now we have Battle of Dazar lore, but I'm almost wondering if they don't want us to test this. Maybe they want it to be a fresh surprise, like have no data mine. So I'm curious now.
Yeah, I wonder what they'll decide to do. The raid comes out on the 21st, was it?
Yeah, the week of the 21st. So I think that's 22nd US and 23rd EU.
Okay. Yeah. Those were the dates. Gotcha. Yeah, I look forward to that. Having some new raids to go into. I'm looking forward to the Jaina fight.
Yeah, I'm excited to see that narrative develop, and I know people are happy to actually have their artifact knowledge increasing again when season 2 starts. And
I'm not sure why they stopped it. Should have just continued. But yeah.
I know. Yeah, that's that is not a popular topic. If anything, it should have been communicated.
That's another controversial topic.
Yeah, everyone's like, forums. Oh sweet, I'll just gain all this AK per day, and then it's like, oh, actually it stopped, so your calculations are off and you must grind out more per day in order to definitely feels bad. But in happier news, or in content you can do now as opposed to being blocked, the Darkshore warfront is transition. Also
content that you can do now.
Yeah,
that's awesome. Yep.
So since the start of the patch, there's been a sped up version of the Darkshore warfront cycle for the holidays. And actually, right before this show, the final stage went live on EU Realm. So we're now in the 4th phase, where the Alliance is now doing their contributions. So
contributions.
Yeah, which is funny because I wrote the notes for last week, and I was like, currently, at the time of filming the show, the Horde are attacking. And I was like, no, currently, at the time of filming the show, the Alliance are doing contributions. So, coughing fit, 1 second.
That's okay, no worries. But yeah, it's funny, the notes are a week old, as Perk said, because this was specifically the notes or news that were meant for last week. But since there was no show, we talked about it this week, and that needed a little update. So now it's the Alliance that are doing the contribution part. Some other stuff which is cool with the Warfront is all the different items that you can get. There's a new thing, in case you missed out, called service medals. So 7th Legion service medals for Alliance and honor-bound service medals for Horde. And with these service medals, you can buy a bunch of different things, including mounts, pets, toys, heirloom items, and also the XP potion that we mentioned in the past as well. It's, if I remember correctly, it is a 10% XP bonus that you can send to your ults when leveling them, which is great because we don't normally get items like that easily farmable. We've had those items in the past with the ridiculous buff, the 300%, but they were one-time use only, and they were pretty rare as well. So
Yeah,
it wasn't
Blizzard's
a
kind of
reliable
phasing
way.
those out.
Yeah, they're being
Yeah.
phased out for sure. So now we have a more reliable way of farming XP potions that you can send to your ults to use hourly. The Darkshore also has a lot of new rares that you can farm, and these rares, they drop transmog, they also drop mounts, pets, and toys as well. So I would suggest going through for each cycle to go through and kill all the rares once, and then you're done for that cycle, and then you wait for the next one. That's still a topic, or not a topic, but that's still sometimes something that can be confusing for people, because people think, oh, now is the weekly reset, or soon is the weekly reset.
Right, because a lot of other things reset on a weekly basis. Like if you're farming a boss, you're like, oh, well, you know, like I'll kill the Shaw of Anger and hope he gets the Cloud Serpents. Like, oh, well, that's on a different cycle.
Yeah, it's a different cycle of its own. So basically, whenever the cycle is changing, where the rares become like available again, that's when you go and kill them. You don't wait for weekly resets. It's got a reset system of its own.
Yeah, and one neat detail I wanted to bring to people's attention was that the Frightened Kodo mount, which was, I think the NPC it drops from is very elusive. It's not always. It's the same Kodo that's flinging in the Terror of Darkshore cinematic. So we've talked before how Blizzard is trying to be really big on continuity. Like, you know, Jaina's necklace that she's wearing in the comic is actually her father's necklace, and you see it in the in-game cinematic, how it's all tied together. So I think it's nice how the characters from the cinematic are showing up in-game in different ways.
Yeah, I like that too. It makes the game feel more alive, having like more point of views of seeing the different mounts in this case, but models in general.
Yeah.
I think it's cool.
On a collector's note, the Darkshore Warfront is really good if you want to get things that look like the other faction. So, for example, the Alliance can get this Frightened Kodo mount, and I know there are a lot of Nightsaber cat models that the Horde can loot as well. So, you know, if you want to have some cross-faction stuff going on, you can do that with the Darkshore Warfront.
Mm-hmm.
And
so it's good stuff to keep in mind.
Yeah. Speaking of mounts, transition. One thing that happened right before Christmas was the solving of the Hivemind secret, which we're both really excited about because we both love mounts. And, you know, Annie's, you know, grinding out trying to get the mount, and I'm working, you know, helping with the guide work. But the Hivemind, in case you don't know, but I feel everyone knows because everyone's been discussing it.
It's a mount that's been discussed for so long. Like, we thought it would be there at the time when we got the ball pet, but then it was clarified on Twitter that it's not available in the game at the moment, and now we got it. It was, at least we will write about the fact that it was a secret mission type of thing to get it, and not something boring, because everyone has been really excited about this mount, or maybe not everyone, but a lot of people have. So it was nice to see that it's such a cool, I don't know if I should call it a quest line, a chain. It's a cool chain of events to get it, and I think that's awesome.
Yeah, so it's a mount that looks like a brain with tentacles. And it's really difficult to do a step-by-step walkthrough, but the Secret Finding Discord, which is a really large Discord, worked together to solve the steps for this mount. And then they...
I'll also link the link in the chat so you guys can see how to get it. If you're interested, you can check out the guide to get it.
Yeah. So the moderators finished, you know, pinning and refining the steps. They then put their findings as a guide using Wowhead's public guide system. So that's really awesome, and we've since translated the guide into I think 5 or 6 different languages. So that's been pretty cool. And yeah, you can see some of the steps going on there, and there's so many steps involved. I think my favorite step, for example, you have to there are 5 kittens that actually look like Bright Paw, and you have to pet each one a very specific amount of time. and the number of times is related to damage you take earlier in the puzzle, where like the first number in the damage amount is how many times you pet the first cat, and so on. So I think that's my favorite step in the puzzle, the little very picky cats. Do you have a favorite or step in that you like?
I do. I do have to say that the part with the cats was the cutest and most adorable step. But my favorite step was actually one of the puzzles that I could do on my own. Because there's some of those puzzles are ridiculously difficult for me to like solve myself, at least in like a timely manner. So the step that I enjoyed, I've got some pictures showing it as well, is the Halls of Originations part. I think I should have.
Oh,
the
that's a
pictures here
pretty
somewhere.
step.
Okay, I said I have pictures, but apparently I don't. No, I do. I do. Right here. Here. So in this puzzle part, there were a lot of little sort of constellation-looking things spawning everywhere, and the goal was to turn them all into the same color, and you did that by clicking these purple things that had beams coming out of them in a way that would turn the colors in that beam to switch them by one color. I don't know if I explained that properly, but yeah, and I love that puzzle because it was really fun to work on it, and it took me just under an hour to solve it, and I didn't use any add-ons, and I just kept clicking things, and I thought it was really fun. It was one of those puzzles that was, you know, doable for myself and not take a too long time. I'm referring to the things like the puzzle at Skyreach, for example. I think that's a really, really hard one. But this one was really fun, and I did it. Impossible without the add-on. Lies. No, it's true. I did it live on stream as well. It was really fun. I think somebody timed me, and it took me 54 minutes or something like that. And it was really fun. I liked it. That was definitely my favorite part.
So some, I guess, controversy or confusion related to the mount was how does it work? Because as we were data mining it, we found different spells that implied there was some sort of movement speed increase, but we didn't have the full story. So some people got the impression that like, oh, like I'll connect to a billion hive minds and my mount will move at, you know, like 10,000 speed faster or something like that.
Yes.
And so how this works is that you can connect to the hive minds only of players you most recently completed the summoning ritual with. And that ritual requires 5 people. So you can have 5 people connected for a 40% movement speed gain. And it's only the most recent people. So if you've done the ritual, you know, 4 times, maybe, you know, I don't know, 15, 16 people total, you can only connect with the people in the most recent time, which also means don't do it with random people because you can only, you know, connect to them. But you can redo the ritual to connect with people you like, at least.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. So if you do it the first time with random people, it's not like it's too late, like too bad you chose the wrong people. You can just do the last part again, and then you will be connected to those people instead. And I believe the last part is actually the part that includes the cat petting.
Yeah.
Right? Because I think you need to do that to access the last puzzle. So there's that.
And the guide also goes over what are the minimum things you need to do. So, for example, you know, if you're doing this with a group of friends, you don't need to, you know, grind out every single monocle. I mean, it might be useful, but if your friends have the other ones, you don't need to do everything yourself. So, you know, definitely check out the guide with what are all the steps you specifically need to do, because it might not be as much as you think you need to do.
Yeah, that is actually also very good to know. And Gumdrops, thank you for throwing that host. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Gumdrops is Wowhead's economy writer, and he also has a giveaway going on. So check out his stuff. I think we donated a mount or some game time to his giveaway. So yeah, definitely check his stuff out.
There you go. Hashtag giveaways. Yeah, I think that was it in terms of the Hivemind secret mount. And with staying on the mount topic, we also have a new mount available in the Blizz store, the Vulpine Familiar. I have a picture right here Actually, you know what? I'll go straight into the video instead.
Okay, yeah, let's do that.
It shows the full model, and you'll also see the mount special, which is very, very pretty. It's a very cute mount. The colors, the model, the movement, everything about it is adorable. It's very loud. Let me turn it down. There we go. That should be better. Yeah, it's a very cute mount, and I think soon... Oh, there we go. That's the mount special.
Yeah, it's super cute. And I'm sure lots of people are like, oh, it's like the Vulpera. I wish the Vulpera could be an allied race, because they've got that similar look.
Similar name, too. Vulpine.
Yeah. So, yeah, as usual, shop mount, $25. And it came right before Christmas. So, you know, it's pretty much on schedule for Blizzard to release stuff. You know, of course, some controversy that it came out when Blizzard was announcing, you know, pretty shocking things like, you know, Heroes of the Storm and some other unpopular decisions. But these are planned way in advance, and we were data mining hints that this mount was coming several months ago. We knew that there was some sort of encrypted mount, so this wasn't a last minute thing done to appease people. It was in the works for a pretty long time.
Yeah, I think that's something that people miss out on a lot. Like, people comment on things as if everything is intertwined and related, but these mounts are on a separate schedule from everything else. It's not like, oh, we're gonna move over the old Heroes team to now work on this Blizzstar mount. Like, that's not how it works.
Right, or it's not like, oh, we're gonna like secretly make this mount and only release it when we fire people, or, you know, recalibrate team.
Did I say Hearthstone? I meant HOTS.
Yeah, HOTS. Hearthstone is still doing its thing with Rastakhan Rumble.
Yeah.
But
it is really sad what happened with HOTS, though. A quick shout out to people who are working or were working in that field. I hope that things can look a bit brighter for you guys. I said Heroes? Okay, good. So I didn't say it.
That whole thing made me really sad because they didn't really give any indication that it was, you know, going away at BlizzCon. And I mean, I guess there always is a risk. Like, if you choose to, you know, work on a product or be contracted to work on something and you know it's not the most popular game, there's always that sense of, you know, security, or, you know, would this go away? But on the other hand, it did seem pretty stable. You know, Blizzard products are pretty, you know, they haven't really cut programs or stuff like that. So I can see why people wanted to stay with it, especially if everything sounded very encouraging at BlizzCon, that, you know, stuff was coming back or stuff was doing well and very high quality.
It's also sad for people like content creators who have, like, you know, all of their main things around that game, because that means that they also have to suffer quite a bit, especially if they don't play any other games.
Like, you know, it's a risk if you're going to focus on a game that maybe isn't like the most popular game on Twitch.
Oh, okay, now I get it. Okay. I thought you were talking about people who are working there, like officially at the company.
I meant the creators.
Okay,
but it's also, like, you know,
no, I agree.
Yeah. That's pretty drastic of Blizzard to just, you know, gut a game, because they were, you know, it's I don't know. It was really sad to read about just what happened, and the tone of the post was very somber and morose on Blizzard's end. And that's probably why they've had so many follow-up posts say, wait, it's not all bad, like, Heroes are coming. But it did sound very sad reading.
It did sound like it's over. I just saw a comment asking, wait, what? Heroes being killed off? So not exactly, but basically they tweeted that the main popular tournament that people were looking forward to next year is cancelled. And on top of that, some other things that people were upset about was they made a tweet about all the different Blizzard/Activision games with holiday sales, and HOTS was the only game that was not listed there having any kind of sales. And that kind of worries you as well, because you see Diablo on there where, like, nothing much has been going on lately except the introduction of the Diablo
Yeah.
Immortal, of course, but that's
Now,
not out yet. So all of those games are listed there, including the Activision games, but not HOTS. And so people are wondering, like, okay, is this like just confirmation that HOTS is dying, or like what's going on? We don't know exactly what's going to happen, but obviously content creators out there are very, very worried about it. A lot of HOTS content creators have been basically sacked from their teams. A lot of teams have, or a lot of orgs have cut them off. And yeah, it's not looking very bright.
I got the impression that some of the people that were regulars got a little bit of a heads up, but for people, like, not every person knew what was going on. So you had people that were maybe getting into the league, deciding to do this as opposed to other jobs, or I know, maybe people put off college a semester. Organizations definitely signed teams that maybe, weren't totally in the loop with Blue, were thinking of branching off into HOT. So overall, a really sad situation, especially because it's right before the holidays when most people already have to have their, contracts and some idea of 2019 already locked into place.
Yep. So definitely a very difficult time for content creators while they're being confused about what's happening next.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, another thing that was mentioned specifically in the tweet was that the HOTS team has been cut down, right?
Yeah, so no HGC, no Heroes of the Dorm, which was sort of the groundbreaking esports thing, broadcast on ESPN, and then the team was being made smaller, and there was that the content cadence would be slower. And the way it was worded, it sounded like no content. And they followed up being like, oh, there's some content, but people were just worried about, the general state of the game. I actually don't think that HOTS has done, I don't think they've been part of every sale because their business model is different. You can get the game for free. But what concerned me was they did this little, Blizzard did a video hyping up all their games. And I don't think HOTS was part of the video hyping up the game.
I didn't see that. Okay. But yeah, the argument that people were making about this sales thing was because some people responded just like you, hello guys, it's not surprising, HOTS is free. And then they were saying, well, so is Hearthstone. And Hearthstone was on there.
Right. Yeah. I mean, Hearthstone, they can always give away packs. And they could have probably done something like, discount hero bundle. So, I mean, you do have done
something.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's probably like you say that it probably didn't mean anything. It's just that in that game there wasn't anything relevant to put out as a sale, but it still felt kind of like
it would have been good to do to stop the panicking.
Yeah, exactly. I think like they should have put something, since every single game was there except HOTS. It felt a little
and then
bit
it's like Call of Duty and like Black Ops. You're like, oh, okay, like this is not exactly Blizzard.
I think that was the main reason.
But
yeah.
So going back to mounts, we were talking about how the Vulpine Familiar came out kind of at a bad time with controversy, even though data shows it was planned a bit in advance. And along those lines, we are getting hints at what the next round of secret shop mounts could be. So basically for these shop mounts, we don't just data mine them. We get little hints of file names and their related icons before we actually see what they look like. And what we think is on the way, in the same batch of icons as the Vulpine Familiar, there's some sort of flying pig. And the next Chinese New Year is the Year of the Pig. So we think that a flying pig is on the way in February. And it has wing textures, so it is definitely not just a pig, but a flying pig.
So that's the first icon here that you can see on the screen. And when data mined, you guys found strings, basically, right? That describe wings and similar. So that's why you guys think that it's going to be a pig that can fly.
Yeah. And there's also something that looks like, interesting dragon type and some spells with Alliance and Horde rockets, which could be something Lunar Festival related. Maybe you get a firework and it turns into your faction and they don't want people to know about that in advance. So we'll see. But yeah, definitely new round of shop cosmetics and things on the way.
Wait, do we
Oh,
think all of these are from the store, possibly?
I think so. Actually, that reminds me. Yeah, I think all of these are from the shop. So maybe like our early 2019 items, or the
Interesting.
Shuzen, the dog mount with Year of the Dog, was available in China for I think 180 days of game time. So it's like the Dreadwake, but the Chinese version.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe this would be available in China a different way. But yeah, I think these are all shop or promotional type things.
Hmm.
And that actually
So
reminded
having a
me,
cloak in the store, I wonder what's going to be
well,
special about it.
oh yeah, so that kind of looked like a Heart of Azurite type cloak. Maybe it's some
Hmm.
super secret cloak coming in the future.
Hmm. And then the
Um,
fireworks could be,
like Lunar Festival or
mm-hmm,
yeah.
some kind
Or
of
so maybe the
toys.
fireworks aren't related. Maybe the fireworks are some in-game thing they don't want people to see yet. Maybe they're
Uh-huh.
trying to be more
Uh-huh.
secretive with upcoming content.
I
Have
guess
it
we'll
be a
see.
surprise instead of like, oh yeah.
Because something that's interesting also is that they made the bundle for all the store stuff. A lot of those are being archived.
Yeah, I just was gonna bring that up because I realized I forgot to put that in the notes because it was after I wrote them last week.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so the shop bundle is yeah,
Yeah,
that's a
so
thing.
because that's including all the transmog items. The three
Yeah.
transmog
So
heads, those are being archived as well. So now with that new cloak, that could be a new set of transmog items on the store.
yeah, dress up in your finest, Heart of Azeroth regalia with a cape of Azerite and a helm with the gigantic rock and shoulders with gigantic rocks.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so the concept of the items going away kind of bugs me because it's not a physical warehouse and it's not like, oh, this inventory isn't moving. We have to get rid of it. We're going bankrupt. And I see why they're doing it. Not that I think it's a cool thing, but I see how they're trying to be like Disney or other companies that have limited amounts of stuff and they put things in a vault and every 5 years they might bring back you
I
know
think that's
uh
what it might be. Maybe
yeah
like in a year or two or 5 years, like you said, like, yeah, the comeback of this. Like, do you guys remember? If you want to get it, you have two
yeah
weeks to get it or something
it
like
just
that.
seems it just seems so fake because it's a digital thing.
Yeah,
But
yeah. No, I see what you mean.
yeah, so I don't endorse that, but I think they're going for that, you
Mm-hmm.
know get this now or nobody will buy this because I guess there is something psychological if you say that you can always get this anytime. People
Don't get it.
may like
Yeah.
they're lazy. That's why
Mm-hmm.
things like Black Friday do so
Mm-hmm.
well. It's like,
Ooh,
oh, you
your
have
voice
to
is lagging.
get this electronic. Okay, test.
Now it's better, I think.
Okay.
You said something Black Friday.
Yeah, like, Black Friday or Boxing Day or days that they really emphasize sales for that one day only, and then people, break down the storefront to get into it.
Yeah.
And it's all psychological that you need to buy this now or else, you can't get it. So you better stop being lazy and get this now if you really want this.
I think there's another thing to it too, which is again also psychological and affects sales. When you have too big of a library of things for people to buy, people get overwhelmed and they end up buying nothing. Whereas if you have fewer choices, so for example, if you have 10 choices, you're less likely to buy it than if you have three. Just because
Mm-hmm.
10 feels more overwhelming, you can't decide which one you want, and things like that. They've made a lot of studies on this with other kind of items. Like, I remember they did a study with jam, where like if they had like a store with only like two jam types compared to a store that has like 20, the store which only had two would have more sales because the store with 20 was too overwhelming for people. They couldn't decide which one they want. So it was a big difference. Like the smaller store sold like 30% per customer that took a look at the jam, and the 20 items one had like a 6% sale. like counting on like per person who actually took a look at the jam section, something like that, which is maybe also why they feel like their store is becoming too cluttered with too many items. So it's better to like reduce how many things are on there so that people can make quicker decisions if they want to have something or not.
Right. And the ones they got rid of, I don't think the Helms ever did. I'm sorry, that's my mom's. Their ancient computer makes noises sometimes. Um, there's a really loud noise in the background. Also, some of the items they got rid of, most of them I felt were not items people really love. There were mounts from warlords like the Grinning Reaver. The Helms were whatever. I don't think they were, really well loved when they came out back in the day.
No.
And the only one that I thought was kind of cute was the Moonkin hatchling. And that's also something people tend to do in bundles. I was even looking at this with Christmas ornaments and stuff, how, the bundle will have a lot of crappy things, but one kind of cool thing in it. And you'll be tempted to get the bundle for the one cool thing, as the chaser item. So, like, for example, I was buying Christmas ornaments and I was at this museum and they do all these kind of cool historical ornaments of different shoes and fashion things. And they had this bundle of like 5 totally boring things and then 2 things that you could only get if it was in the bundle. And the 2 things were super cool. Yeah. So you're like, oh, I have to buy all the other ones in order to get the cool one that I like. So I think they might be doing that as well, just getting rid of a lot of their unpopular things, but throwing in one cool item that people kind of want to add urgency to the bundle.
Yeah, I see what you mean. You mean like the full bundle, basically. The one that they're selling now. Something else about the bundle, I noticed somebody said he's not sure if he should get it. He already has some of the pieces in there. You do get a discount. So if you own a lot of the items, you do get a discount for it. I think the overall discount, if you don't have any of the items, I think it costs you 50 euros. And I think it's technically worth like 150. And then according to how many items you have after that, the cost goes less and less. So for me personally, I was never a fan of transmog items on the store. I do buy mounts and pets, but I don't like transmog. I don't know why. I just don't like them on the store. I think partly because they also look pretty bad, in my opinion. But anyways, so I looked at my bundle, and my bundle was priced at 8 euros. And I'm like, okay. So I'll get the remaining transmog pieces that I'm missing for 8 euros. And I went for it because it's like, well, I mean, it's going away, right? So I'm guessing that's what a lot of people are going to think as well. Although if you're missing a lot more things, then you're talking about a lot more money. And then, might have to have a second thought on that. I think you can
get them individually too. Maybe. I think everything is 50% off right now. But then the items going away for good are 66% off.
Okay. Well, I assume that's taken in consideration. If I paid like 8 euros and I was missing 2-3 pieces, I think it makes sense.
Yeah. I'm just saying that if someone is missing, say, 7 things, and they only want to buy one of the 7 things,
you can buy it individually.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good to know. Good to know. So you can focus target the ones that you actually want.
Yeah. And all of this
focus target, a WoW term. Yeah.
Yeah, focus target. All of this, the items are going away and the sale is stopping really early on January 7th. And there's also a bunch of sales for other games, so not Heroes, but things like Hearthstone card packs. BFA is discounted if you wanted the collector's edition for those mounts and pets. Overwatch is discounted, including the fancier version. Activision things are discounted, so lots of stuff's discounted.
Okay, that's good to know.
Yeah.
Thanks, Annie. I just saw the discount from already owning some of the stuff. Yeah, there you go. And the perk also now let me know, because I didn't know that either, that you can target specific items that you might be interested in. So that's also good to know. So you're not forced to buy everything, which is good.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure if that was given as an option. I thought you maybe had to get everything.
Yeah. Before we discuss the Q&A, I just want to remind everyone on behalf of SAS that if you have any questions about the stuff we're discussing, or just in general, you can send them to Sass and he will compile them at the end of the show for us to review. So if we are missing your question now, still say it and he'll pick it up and we'll look at it at the end.
And speaking of SAS, we also have a giveaway going on in the chat. And if you want to enter the giveaway, you type Yeti. And the giveaway is of the pet Whomper, which currently and for another 4 days, the money goes to charity. So if you're interested in buying like a pet or any kind of like digital item, but you're not sure if it's worth it, you're not sure if you want to, pay money for a pixelated item, what can feel good is knowing that all the money actually goes to charity if you decide to get it in the next 4 days. And you also have a chance to win it if you enter Yeti in the chat. So that's something I'm really happy with. Like whenever there's an item where the money goes to charity, I make tons of giveaways for it because it feels good. It's like I know a lot of people don't like buying store items for whatever reason, and being able to give that and at the same time support charity, I think is great.
Yeah. So on to the Q&A, which, I know it was more than a week ago, but we should still discuss the important points, not to forget about it. Ian did a Q&A on December 14th, right after 8.1 came out, and he tried, as usual, tried to address a variety of community questions. This one was a bit more tense than the more recent ones he did. I remember his little dev chat introducing 8.1 was super hype, and this was more like, why is it late? Why is Azerite bad? Like, bad. So one important thing we learned is that Azerite armor after the Battle of Dazar'alor will drop with all traits unlocked, and moving forward, not now, but in the future, artifact power will unlock things in the heart of Azeroth instead. So hopefully that system won't have similar problems, but it should solve the problem of people getting up and them being frustrated that they didn't have enough levels to actually use the traits in the item they finally got with the correct traits.
Yeah, I think this is a great change. Like, this is how it should have been from the beginning, to be honest, because like you said, it's like you get an item level upgrade, but then you wear it, and then you can't even use the same number of traits that you could previously on your blue
Right, so
item.
It feels like a downgrade, which is...
Yeah, it's like an upgrade, which is kind of a downgrade. And I'm really curious what kind of things will be in the heart of Azeroth. Like, what are we going to do with our AP?
Yeah, so, I mean, they've been hinting a lot that, Magni and the Heart of Azeroth was not a central part of the BFA story, but that will play a larger role in patch 8.2. So, my guess is something is up with Ashara. And I don't know. I still think that the Azeroth necklaces are just going to become really radioactive and evil. And Ashara will be really happy. We've essentially brought her a ton of Azerite, and things will backfire on us. And
wait, so you think might be a more like lore based, kind of like getting unstable? Maybe it won't affect us in the gameplay?
I mean, I think that I think it's just going to backfire on us. In addition to the lore reasons, it can also bleed into gameplay where you have these traits. Like maybe will be really powerful, but they could also damage us, kind of how the artifacts are unstable at the end of Legion. Or...
Because I'm wondering if this will lead to an end of AP farming.
No, I could see that, like, we can't treat Azerite in the same way because we're all pawns of Ashara and we're just collecting Azerite for her. So no more AP farming, we're going to interact with Azerite differently. Like, instead of just shoveling Azerite around our necks, we're going to be still getting Azerite to use for powerful machinery, but it has to be, like, I don't know, more secretive or something that... I don't know. I can just sort of picture us like walking into Ashara's den, and she's like, "Oh, thank you for all the Azerite heroes." Then everyone's like, "Oh, like we shouldn't be collecting it this way. We're just feeding her Azerite obsession."
Honestly, yeah, it's probably going to be something along that line. It's most likely going to backfire. I think that would make the most sense. I'm just wondering what kind of powers it will give us, what kind of things we'll be able to unlock in the heart of Azeroth instead of the Azerite armor. That's going to be really interesting. It's a great change. It's a great change. It means that we will have our traits properly and not have to worry about downgrading with our upgrades, which is awesome.
I'd also like to see more lore because, well, I know some people are like, oh, lore. It doesn't need to be, a book about, well, it doesn't need to be like a novel about Azerite, but I think having those little tidbits about why your artifact weapon was special in Legion just added to general hype, even if you weren't someone that wants to read about lore all the time.
Yeah, it can be a short, like, questline, short cinematic. It could be anything.
Yeah, and I hope there's visual progression that comes back too, because I think that was also really big for the artifact weapons. Like, I'm doing the series of popular content on Wowhead over the holidays, and some things are really, like, Balance of Power was the top looked up quest on the site, and you didn't really need it for anything important, but it looked really cool. So people really wanted to get that before the end of Legion, and it's actually still kind of a popular page on the site. And things like the class order hall, other appearances were a lot of traffic in 2018, and like this wasn't even new content. This was stuff that was around since the start of Legion that was getting a lot of attention. So I think it would be cool to, I don't know, just make it seem like more of a fantasy system and less like, oh, we're going to hope you roll the correct, trait in your RNG. Just something to make it seem more, I don't know, fantasy and not, not more like a gambling situation.
On the topic of Azerite, we have some more information on the Mythic Plus hotfix. That was also discussed in the 8.1. I assume it was discussed, or maybe it happened right after. But there were some Mythic Plus hotfixes to counter the removal of keystone deletion. So in case you didn't know, in the past, what you could do is delete a key, and once you go in with your friends, maybe let's say you're doing a plus 11 key, and at the end of the dungeon you would get a key of your own according to what level that dungeon was. They removed the ability to delete your key, so whichever key you happen to have, you're kind of stuck with it. You have to do it. And one of the main reasons that people wanted to delete keys was because they would get a dungeon which is very, very hard compared to other dungeons at the same level. And to face that, what they did was they made a bunch of hotfixes to basically nerf a lot of the dungeons that were considered harder. So King's Rest was one of them, and there's a bunch of others as well, with tons of hotfixes of reduced HP of mobs, reduced damage done by mobs, reduced cooldowns or dot uptimes, and all sorts of things. And this will hopefully make things a little bit more even. So if you get like a plus 10 King's Rest or plus 10 Freehold, it shouldn't feel too terrible, basically. It should feel a bit more balanced. And I have been in a few dungeons since then, and I do feel like it's a lot better now.
Yeah. Another thing they announced, quality of life change, is that in PvP Season 2, once you obtain your seasonal mount, every time you fill the bar after that, you'll earn a vicious saddle. So right now, in Season 1 and 2, it was a little weird. Basically, there's a bar, and you get a very specific type of seasonal mount, and that's it. And I believe in Season 1, the vendor wasn't even present, so you couldn't get the interesting vicious mounts from past seasons, even if you wanted to. So at least in Season 2, you will have the ability to get the saddles, which can then be targeted to any mount. Because, while the hippo, is cool, and I think Season 2, the Basilisk, I'm not sure. But, there's different ones with Season 2. But some people really want a horse or the Night Elf one. They want the one targeting their particular race. And, now in Season 2, you can kind of farm for that again, which is good.
Do you think the mounts that are currently rewards for the PvP season, do you think they'll be added to that vendor, or do you think they'll be unobtainable?
I think they said somewhere it was going to be added, but at the end of BFA.
Okay.
To give you motivation to actually do the specific season.
Gotcha. There was also a small issue where people couldn't equip crafted gear when logging in after the 8.1 patch, and that was due to some kind of weird bug with flagging of professions. But I believe that should all be fixed now, correct?
Yeah, so Blizzard basically, a lot of people, what they would want to do is create crafted gear and then drop that profession because they could still equip the item. And Blizzard didn't want people essentially getting the benefits of all those professions
Multiple
at once.
professions, yeah.
Yeah, so the issue is that they did it without any communication, and it applied to people retroactively, so everyone sort of logged on, and they were missing certain armor slots because they couldn't equip their epics.
Yeah.
So Blizzard said, that was a big mess. We fixed it retroactively, but moving forward, we don't want it to work this way. But it was a mess that you would, it wasn't good that you would log on and then all of a sudden, you were missing 2 armor slots.
Mm-hmm.
So for the people affected, that's been changed back to normal.
But now, in the future, they will stick to that tag?
Yeah, so for the items you can craft in Season 2, they've, set up a thing where the item requires you to...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So right now they had the items be BOP,
mm-hmm.
but that wasn't enough. Now they say, well, it has to be BOP and you need that profession.
Yeah. Gotcha.
And a high level, so you can't just reroll raid time. I'm back to blacksmithing level 1, so I can put these pants on.
No. Gotcha. Another thing that was discussed in the Q&A was the Potion of Tongues, which is an item that you can use in order to communicate cross-faction. And in the Q&A, it sounded like if you use this potion, you can understand the opposing faction. But I think the way it's working currently in the game is that you can also be understood. I'm not sure if that's how it's meant to be.
I think that's the case. They had some changes in 8.1 broke some add-ons where people could communicate cross-faction.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And this was meant to be a sort of band-aid measure to, I guess if you're an RPer,
mm-hmm.
or you're just used to having this functionality and it went away, that's a bummer. So they added this back, and I think you can communicate with anyone with consent. So if you're PvPing on the opposite faction, the person can't be taunting you, but it works out of combat and other times.
Someone in chat just said that you can't anymore. They nerfed it. Well, that's good. I mean, basically, I don't think it's been nerfed per se. I think it wasn't working as it was intended to. So the way it's supposed to be working, the way that it was discussed, is that you can use that potion if you want to understand the opposing factions. If I want to understand the Horde, I can use it. That does not mean that I can talk and they can understand me, because that would be me forcing myself on them, right?
Right.
It can maybe ruins people's immersion, and maybe it can be used in a toxic manner, making fun of people when you kill them. So the way that it's meant to be working is if both Alliance and Horde character want to talk to each other, they both have to be using this potion.
Right.
And I think that makes more sense.
Fine.
Yeah. I think that's better. I don't think people should be able to force their language on you.
Yeah. So another thing at the Q was they said that the next developer chat won't be a traditional Q&A, but it will be discussing the story of WoW with different members of the Blizzard team present. So it will be focused on lore. Ian is not going to be answering questions about lore. And it's not going to be is Sylvanas evil? Yes, no. It's going to be more of a discussion of key concepts.
Mm-hmm.
So all that seems cool. And I'm looking forward to it. I think it's good they're branching out and not just having Ian. I think seeing more faces of the WoW team is a good thing.
I think so too.
You don't want Ghostcrawler syndrome where everyone blames Ian or Ghostcrawler for everything because he's the only visible person on the team.
Yeah. That's good.
Yeah. So, those are the important things we learned in the Q&A. And I wonder if they're going to get the lore Q&A out before 8.15, because you sort of wonder if there's going to be some crazy data mining going on with the lore or broadcast text, and if they want to, if they would rather explain it in their own words as opposed to seeing it in the data mining.
Apparently,
So,
Brightpot is watching.
oh, did Sass share the picture?
Yeah.
He's so cute.
Brightpot is watching us.
Aww.
Hello, Brightpot.
He's such a good cat.
And yeah, moving on from Q&A, we wanted to address some Blizzard posts that have been made recently. The first topic was addressing the power leveling twinks in island expeditions. What Blizzard did as a sudden decision, or seemingly very sudden decision, was to make it not possible for number or level 110 characters to lock their experience. This led to lots of backlash, and they decided to undo that so that people are able to still freeze their XP. And I think what Blizzard is going to try and do is find some other solution to help this. Basically, they don't like the idea that people are locking their experience in order to go through content in BFA faster in order to level other characters. So, yeah, I'm not sure. What do you think could be a good solution for that?
I mean, it's like, how big of an issue is it, is my question.
Yeah,
because
that's also a good question.
They've been trying to hype up islands forever. Whenever I post island news, like, islands are not really hype news unless I post something like, now we know how the rewards work. And I feel things to get people doing islands is a good thing. So I sort of don't really see this as like an urgent thing to, I don't know, fix or change. I'm just like, oh, people are having fun in islands. That's new.
And there's no like leaderboard. It's not like the low characters are like topping some kind of leaderboards, and there's no there's no unfair advantage. People are leveling fast, sure, but then anyone could do it, right?
Right. I mean, they added the XP potion and heirloom in there. I mean, I suppose they could disable the XP potion in islands if they care so much, but I don't know. I know there was a bug where people were AFKing in islands and they were still able to collect loot, so someone would just AFK and then, walk away with 10 mounts at the end of it. And that definitely seems wrong, but that's not, related to specifically being overpowered at level 110.
No.
So, yeah, and so Super, they just like made this post right before the holidays, and everyone's like, whoa. And then they're like, oh, JK, we're not doing it. So I guess it's good they realized that this was a misstep.
Honestly, I think this might have to do with the selling. I think they just not very happy with the selling of it. Maybe there's even real money involved on like a larger scale that us as regular players who may not be interested may not be aware of. But there might be a huge market for it, and that's why they don't like it and they wanted to stop it.
Yeah, that does get trickier, especially if it gets into, illegal buys. They have,
because it's giving people an incentive to pay money for like a service, which is not allowed.
Right. I mean, I would say go after the people doing that, and just let the people who gear up their twinks and have fun doing it, farming, just let them have fun. But, just have members of the team keep an eye on people selling it.
Yeah, I agree.
People do it all the time, whether it's max level, we're selling, raid gear, or we're, farming Ivis 10,000 times, or, we're doing stuff to get money to transfer our guilds. So, and, there have been ban waves for other things. So, I just feel that sort of like fun detected, nuke it is sort of the message that was sent, which I don't think was the best message.
No, it wasn't. So, which is understandable. And that's why they had to revert the change.
Yeah.
So that's good.
We have a cat update. Brightpaw will like this.
Yes.
Smoochums got a new model in 8.1, and people were sad because he had a distinctive kind of flat cat, old school ghostly face. And people were sad, and Smoochums is back to his old model. And Smoochums is the ghostly cat related to the creepy tea party in Drustvar.
Mm-hmm. It looks
And
so derpy.
I know.
It's cute.
So, justice for smoochums.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so just a quick before and after. This happened together with the was it with the 8.1 hotfixes for December 19th?
Yeah, there were
Mm-hmm.
some other hot fixes mixed in with that.
Mm-hmm. Another topic of certain things in the game possibly being abused uh, is the suspensions for people who were abusing the loot bug on Ivus. Apparently, they could keep killing it, keep getting azerite that they would turn into residuum, and people who did that are now facing suspensions, which could be anything from 3 days to 3 months to 6 months. It probably depends on whether you've been suspended before. And yeah, those should be rolled out, I think, already. Maybe
Yeah.
some cases a bit later
So,
on.
yeah, so basically people were just farming the boss over and over and hoping
Mm-hmm.
to get azerite, and then they turned into residuum, and then they can get a head start getting the, OP targeted pieces that they want to get from the vendor.
Yes. And there was also some tweets on this. Ian himself also responded to it, and he was explaining how, because there's people who still don't understand sometimes what exploiting can mean. And the idea here is that you're abusing an obvious bug for power, and when you accidentally stumble upon something and you might get an extra piece or two, then you realize, like, oh, okay, this is strange, probably not meant to be. Then you stop. That's okay. But if you are abusing it by, farming it for hours to get tons and tons of azurite pieces, then obviously that's a huge contrast. And one is exploiting and one is not. So, yeah, that was just a quick clarification in case people are not sure whether what they did was exploiting or not.
Yeah. So to wrap up for the final part of the show, I wanted to just go over some things that Wowhead had been setting up. Not just the news and the guides that we've been talking about, but some site feature updates. So the first thing we wanted to share is that we have faction assault tracking on the front page. This tells you how much time is left on the assault and when the next ones are coming. But more importantly, it also tells you which assault is up, because certain things are tied to specific assaults. Like there are battle pets only in Vol'dun. There are certain, I think, a toy with Tiergard sound, and it matters where it is, especially if your alliance or horde traveling to one continent might be more difficult than the other. So all that's on Wowhead's front page.
Mm-hmm.
And at first, we moved the Legion assaults off to make room for the faction assault. But a lot of people were really sad the Legion assaults went away, because they're still a good experience, and people like it, for the transmog items you can get. So we brought back the Legion assaults, and we just put them back on a separate page devoted to all the things in Legion now.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully that's a good compromise for people that like the Legion stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah, I
in
think that's
addition
great.
to
As long
all,
as it's available, it doesn't have to be on front
yeah,
page. As long as it's available.
yeah. And in addition to all the data pushes and site updates we were doing for things like the Hivemind or new world quests, we also updated our transmog set database and the guides for all the new sets. And that means that if you're searching for a set to use in the dressing room, or you want to, see all the warfront sets in the database easily, now you can do so. So that includes new island sets and the new warfront sets, and probably more coming with season 2.
Mm-hmm.
And as usual, there's the guides and the news. No PTR, but we're still trying to keep the news interesting with kind of end of the year top 10 lists. So yeah, also wanted to let you know we have a holiday giveaway going on for Feast of Wintervale. We
I'll link it in
have
the chat.
a lot of really cool prizes to give away, including a Sylvanas statue, some of the new mounts and pets, and we have some ways to enter on social media via Gleam. That's just like a generic contest platform. But if you hate social media, I'm not sure you guys all do because you're watching the show on Twitch. But if you hate it, there are ways to enter where you just have to visit certain pages on Wowhead that you probably are already visiting, like the Darkshore, warfront guide or the What is 8.1 guide.
I also took a quick screen cap of all the prizes to make it a little bit easier to give you guys a good overview of the things that are available. And also, speaking of giveaways, the giveaway in the chat for the Whomper has been finalized, and the winner, who has also responded, is Rada Kurth. Congratulations, Rada, on your new pet. It's a very cute little Yeti with very big eyes.
Yeah. So I think that about wraps it up. I'm checking my messages from Sass. I have a picture of Brightpaw, which is cute.
Yes.
But he doesn't have any questions for me.
It's like, I know everything already, Mom, okay?
Yeah. Aegis was asking, I think, what about the +5 item level upgrade that we could choose for our Azurite traits? How is that going to be handled in 8.2? Maybe they would just say whatever 5 item levels you can have it, unlock it. I think Blizzard wouldn't sweat. I don't think they would remove that trait. I think they would just keep it there.
Yeah, I assume it would just be automatically 5 extra item levels.
Yeah, like in the grand scheme of things, it's like, oh wow, we gave them 5 item levels. They're overpowered now. I think they'll just be fine with it.
Yeah, if they remove it, then it's gonna be, balanced accordingly. If it's still there, then it's still there. It's not gonna be locked for you. Like, you're not gonna see it but not be able to use it, I'm sure.
Oh, Sass has a question from Brightpaw. Where are you? You've been gone quite a while now.
Oh, Brightpaw. When are you seeing Brightpaw again?
Next week.
Next week. Okay.
So
another week, Brightpaw. Another week.
Yeah. Brightpaw gets along with Sass.
Yeah. Sass is nice. I also just saw a resub from BH Rod, 6 months. Thanks for the great streams and the Wowhead site. Thank you for supporting.
Thank you.
Thank you. I saw a bunch of other subs and resubs, and I think I saw a Prime sub kind of recently as well. Thank you guys so much. Yeah, Loffin with the Prime sub. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I think there were some other ones too, but I can't see them from scrolling.
Ocelot says, have either of you stated your predictions for what the next WoW expansion announcement will be at BlizzCon? I know it's early, but it's always good to speculate and get the gears turning.
Ooh. Somebody said in my chat, I'm not sure if this is true, that something big will happen next BlizzCon. Have you heard the same?
Yeah, so I've heard that, and I mean, we're sort of, not to sound entitled, but every other year they announce an expansion, so we're sort of due for that again. Okay. But also, it's the 15th anniversary of WoW, so that could also be what people mean by something big, because for the 10th anniversary, they really were hyping up Warlords, and they had some like free outdoor party for WoW. So I think that's what it's going to be.
Okay. Yeah, because I heard something about how it's been announced as like, if you've never been to a BlizzCon and you're considering going to one only, then this should be the year.
Yeah, I mean, I think that as far as expansions go, so I don't think what's going on in Battle for Azeroth is going to end well. And I think that they're going to be like, oh, Ashara sort of won, and now it's like Black Empire expansion. We did not win the Battle for Azeroth, so...
I was actually scared. You know how like they hyped up Diablo Immortal? I was kind of worried that they're hyping up another mobile game. It's like it's the wrong crowd, Blizzard. But what if it's like a WoW mobile, and like, I don't know, Hearthstone is already mobile. HOTS, I don't know if that would work mobile. Just everything mobile. That's so new.
The only thing, I would be cool if there was a WoW version of Pokemon Go, because a lot of WoW people I know play that game, so there is crossover audience, and you'd have lots of potential with like plushies and Pepes, and you know, like the battle pet system was from Pokemon, and that's done well in WoW, and you could take all those pets and have you actually have the mobile pet battles against other pet battlers. And I think it would be cool if like you took out your phone and all of a sudden, I don't know, Ragnaros just spawned in a convention center, stuff like that. But
Yeah,
I mean, it
I
shouldn't
do
be the
agree.
main focus. So
No,
there's just
exactly.
there's
That's the thing.
something
It
with an
can't be the main
expansion that would be cool.
focus. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, yeah,
But
hopefully, like somebody said in chat, they hopefully understood and learned from the reaction after last BlizzCon. But I do still feel that it's funny how disconnected they were, obviously, for thinking that it would be a success.
right. Yep.
But
I almost
yeah.
have to wonder if the shareholders said that. So like if the Diablo team was all like, hey, this we don't want to do this, and Nettie, the people that are actually making the game were like, oh, as part of the agreement, we get to say where it's announced or something like that.
Maybe, but it's so strange. Like, it's not gonna go home for the people who are watching. Like, you have to consider the audience too. Like, you can't just do that.
Going like there's that horrible Instagram update today. It's like, well, a bunch of people signed off thinking that their, new way of swiping was the way to go. So it's like, I don't know, maybe people got blinded to how you're sort of in an echo chamber and you think it's all great, and then people are like, what?
Yeah, I don't know. Hopefully it's been it was a good lesson so that we don't get the highlight of BlizzCon being a mobile game. But
Right.
having said that, having a mobile game on the side would be pretty cool.
Yeah. And yeah, I think it would be fun to play like when I'm
World of Warcraft
traveling
Go.
the holidays. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think that would have almost been a better mobile game to launch with, because people are always like, I want mobile pet battles. I want mobile pet battles. So I was like, well, here's an actual thing you wanted on a phone.
Yeah, I hope if they do introduce something to do with pets on the phone, that it also counts towards the pet battle achievement. I'm still struggling with that. 2,500 pet battles done out of 5,000. Halfway there, and it's existed for years now. So
yeah,
it's gonna take time. But yeah, I believe that has wrapped up all the things that we wanted to talk about today. I'll say again, I hope you guys have had amazing holidays, Christmas holidays, amazing celebrations, hopefully with family or friends or both. And if you have animals, pets, like I have Luna. And wait, but you have Brightpaw, but Brightpaw's not with you. I was going to say, I hope you've enjoyed them with your pets as well.
Well, Sass is getting to enjoy Brightpaw.
Yeah, Sass is the
terrorizing
lucky one
his hermit crabs and attacking.
Right. Thank you so much, guys, for watching, for supporting all the subs, resubs, and also all the people. Shout out to the people on the Wowhead pages also watching us from the front page over there. Hello, guys.
Hello.
And for the people who take that extra step on the Wowhead pages by being subscribed to Wowhead Premium. Thank you guys so much. And as I say that, we get another Prime sub, the Kisato. I hope I didn't say it too wrongly. Thank you very much for that. Really appreciate it. And my carpet. Oh, his carpet has also very much enjoyed Brightpaw's visit.
Oh yeah, because he's when he broke into the hamster cage, not the hamster, the hermit crab cage. His little paws had sand and fiber all over them, and he tracked them all around Sass's floor and bed. So Sass has a mess to clean up after my cat.
I have to vacuum like my bathroom floor and hallway, like right next to the bathroom, pretty much every day because of sand in general. Do you have that issue too?
Yeah, he loves kicking things out of his litter box.
Yeah. Okay.
And you just have to keep cleaning up after the cat nonstop.
I have to vacuum all the time. And the worst thing is she's so afraid of the vacuum cleaner too. And so she dashes to the living room, and first she watches me, and then she sees me watch her, and then she hides behind the sofa.
Oh, Brightpaw loves the vacuum. One time I left him alone with it, and I was doing something in the bedroom, and I'm like, why isn't he following me? That's weird. And I hear this sound, and I'm like, no. And he turned the vacuum on, and he was sitting next to it. I don't know what he was thinking.
My
God. Thought it was purring.
Such a contrast. Oh my God. No, Luna, she dashes off, hides behind a sofa to make sure she's safe. Has not gotten used to it. I hope that over time she'd get used to it and, be a bit closer for every time. I've also tried to like have the vacuum on but not really using it and give her treats, but she refuses to get near it. Like she's watching it and then watching me. Watching it, watching me. She's super afraid. Another sub from Smoots81. Thank you very much, Smoots81.
Thank you.
I has plush cats. I can get the cuteness without the mess. Well, there you go. Whatever works for you, right? Yeah, she's terrified of vacuum cleaners. So I try to, what I do is I grab the vacuum cleaner and she sees it. She knows exactly what's going to happen. I give her time to hide behind the sofa and then I switch it on. Because she knows how it looks. It's like she sees it. Oh, it's time. I need to run. It's funny. But yeah, maybe one day she'll be brave enough. But for now, nope. She does not like it. Cat. Yeah. She is still a baby, I suppose. Maybe it changes as she gets older.
Yeah. Maybe when she's as big as a vacuum, she'll be like, oh, I can take you on.
Yeah, like, I'll fight you. You making noises? I'll make the noises back at you.
It's just a big purring cat.
Yeah. All right. Well, I hope you guys had a great time catching up with everything in World of Warcraft. As usual, we always do our best to make sure that we cover the weekly news so that in case you're disconnected for whatever reason, travels or work or anything, we can hopefully tell you guys what the most important points of the week has been. And we will see you again, hopefully next week. Same time, hopefully. We'll keep you guys updated on that on Twitter to let you guys know. For now, enjoy your New Year celebrations with lots of fireworks, but not dangerously. Don't have them next to your faces, Keep your distance. Don't put those big fireworks in the ground on their own, because then they'll just explode on the ground level. You have to put them in proper tubes, so that they fly up into the sky. Be careful. Stay safe and enjoy the rest of the holidays.
Yep. Happy holidays and Happy New Year.
Yeah. And Perk, thank you for being able to do this even though you're traveling and at your parents'.
Yeah, I felt really bad. I couldn't do it last week, but, happy we got in the holiday show. And, thank you so much for making the stream all festive with all the lights and thinking of a creative solution so I could still be on the show, even though my parents' internet is not the greatest.
Oh, yeah, of course. We can't do this without Perk, right, guys? We need Perk in here. No, it ended up being very sweet. And I love that picture of yours.
Yeah, it was really right after the midnight Christmas service. That's why it's dark outside. And I just balanced Pepe. He fell off right after the picture. And my mom.
Good. No one has to know.
Yeah, my mom made the pillow of Brightpaw.
Yeah, it's so pretty.
Yeah, it's the one time he's sitting still. And
he's been here the entire show. First time.
Exactly.
The entire show,
plushies
every second.
Pepe is staring down at him.
Kenton, I just saw your resub as well. 6 months in a row. Thank you so much for that.
Thank you.
And also shout out to Perk's parents for letting her do this while she's visiting them. That's also very nice.
Sort of like, I can sort of see them waving through the door, asking like, "Oh, are you done? Are you just on the phone?"
Yeah.
They've been trying not to make a lot of noise. My mom likes watching the show and saying hi to Luna. So she's like, "Oh,
hi, Mom.
Like, can't Brightpaw be more like Luna? Like, not jump on everything and attack everything. Like, Luna's so quiet and Brightpaw's just attacking everything."
Aww. Luna does have her attacking moments, Sometimes out of nowhere she just starts biting me. I actually have I have scratches here. I'm not sure if it's visible from her biting me.
Oh no.
It happens sometimes when I happen to carry her when she doesn't want to be carried.
Yeah, I did a DNA test of Brightpaw, and it actually came back yesterday after 4 months being out, and they said that domestic cats have variation as to how similar they are to wild cats, and Brightpaw is in the 100th percentile. So he has more similarities to tigers than 100% of the average of domestic cats.
Yep.
So he's he's a little tiger. He's a night saber.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't mind water. He swims in water. He fights with a vacuum cleaner. I mean, from the other contrasted side, we have Luna, who is terrified of water, terrified of vacuum cleaner. She probably has like a 2% similarity to a tiger. Something like that. But yeah, we're gonna be wrapping up here. Thank you guys so much for supporting, for hanging out. Hope you guys learned something today, and hopefully we'll see you guys next show. And thank you, Perk, for also joining here, regardless of the situation.
Yeah.
We'll see you all next week. Oh, I can't do the high five.
I know.
I'll just do a clap, okay? You count, and I'll do a clap.
Okay. 1, 2, 3.
There you go.
Yay!
That'll count for this week.
Yeah.
Bye-bye, everyone. See you next week. Yeah, forever alone. If you ever wanted to do a high five but you're alone, make somebody count for you.
Yes.
All right. Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye.